Good morning, everybody. Aaron here with Help Me DIY. Today we're going to try to figure out what's wrong with the front window regulator in my BMW E46. We're going to take a field trip to a junkyard to source a new one, and we're going to install it. And this is going to be very detailed. A lot of stuff that I have not seen on videos shown close up so you can see exactly what is involved and how this thing works. So before that car in the junkyard gets picked apart too badly, I need to remove the door panel, figure out what is wrong with the window here and the window here, see what parts I need, see if I can find them for cheap. All right, I have to get the door panel off. I have to get down in here to see where this thing is. So this just has really sticky crap on it. So I'm just gonna gently peel this off so you can see it's got this goop that they put on here. But just peel this off. These are also T20s. I'm gonna go ahead and take this little box off. So now that can just hang here and you can get this off around behind it. For right now, I'm not messing with the airbag, just pulling it off on this side to see what I can get to. And the first thing I immediately noticed was this hanging in here, which doesn't seem right. So on the bottom inside the door here, I found a few little pieces, probably not supposed to be down there. I am fresh back from the scrapyard with the window regulator that I pulled out of that thing. And the cool thing about these places I have discovered is it is a great place to learn and figure out how to do the job ahead of time, because it helped me figure out how to remove this window regulator. So here is the motor of it, of course, and the motor is attached. So on the bottom side of the motor, for me, I have the wiring where that comes in. So I just have to detach that, and then I can remove 3 screws, 1, 2, 3, and then the window or the regulator motor will come off, and then I can pull the regulator out afterwards. And while I was there getting out the used one, I did remove the airbag, which is just 3 bolts, and then this wiring is a clip that you can do, but I don't want to disconnect my battery and go through all of that. So I'm pretty sure that you can do this with leaving that in place. So I'm gonna try that and see how it works. So for the wiring, there is just a little push tab right here that you can push, and then it will, you can remove this. Now you'll notice that while you have your motor still attached here, there are some gears in there. That's what makes it go up and down. But if you pull up or push down on your window right now, it's not gonna move anywhere because your motor is preventing it. So once you remove this, you can actually pull your window up and down with your hands. And the 3 bolts holding this in are T27s. So I'm just gonna remove these 3. All right, now I assume that my motor still works, because even though it's broken at the bottom, it was still making noise trying to move the window up and down. So after you do that, you can see where this metal is covering up the plastic behind it, and you just rotate it so that it is open and free, and then just pull it straight out towards you, and it will disconnect this gear from in there. And wow, so yeah, this is super jacked up. You can see this is supposed to have teeth around here. All right, so you can see the teeth. So this might not be stripped, it might just be filled with junk that I could clear out and reuse this, but I'll probably just use the new one that I got with it, make sure it works. Yeah, so it was doing something bad with this in here, and I assume that's what caused this thing to snap. So this big window regulator itself is held on by 5 bolts. There's one right here, there's one up there, and one down here. So there's 2 on each side and 1 in the middle. The ones on the other side, you can also see through the door right there and right there. And when that motor is disconnected, it's easy to press down on here and it's gonna move down. So yeah, you can see it moving through the door. And the glass is actually held on or mounted to this regulator right here. You can see that this is the window, and this metal piece right here has a little plastic thing that is clamped onto it. And this bolt right here actually tightens this clamp. And then there is one on the other side as well. All right, it's hiding back there right now, but you can see it has the same end on it, and that is an E-Torx sized 7, because you do have to disconnect the window from this thing. So that was never clear to me until I went out and did it myself. And the issue that I was having is this bolt right here. Once you loosen it, you'll be able to see on the window regulator later that the post is attached to the window regulator coming out the back. And there's a little hole in the metal here that post is fitting through. And so that post has to come back towards the outside of the door to have enough clearance to be able to drop down in here to remove that. And I was not able to move it back far enough on this convertible window with the glass in at all. Even if I had the glass raised as high as I could, this bar would still hit the glass. So I had to pull the glass all the way out to get it out. So we'll see what happens now. So it's easier to see with the actual regulator out of the door what you're looking at. So this is where our motor was connected. That's what it should look inside here. So the cable is attached to that gear. And this piece is one of those pieces that we found inside the door. So that actual part inside broke. And these are the 5 bolts, 1, 2, 3 on this one. And then this one has 2, one on the top and one on the bottom. So these posts are actually sticking through the metal, and the nut is securing it there. So this is the post that I could not push in enough this way to get it out of the hole without removing the whole piece of glass, because the back of this would hit the glass. This piece came apart when I took it out. But you can see here that this little rubber thing is what clamps on and holds the glass. So when you actually turn this to the right, which would normally be tightening it, that actually loosens this, because it's kind of the back of a bolt. So you can see on the back side, it has this with a washer. So when we reinstall this, I'm gonna have to turn it to the left to actually tighten this onto the glass. So here is the new motor, and you can see that these are much nicer than on the ones we removed, so I'll be reusing the new motor. I might hook it up and make sure that it actually works. So since I got it at the parts yard, there's no batteries in the car, so you can't test with switches and try to roll up and down the windows to see if it works. Okay, for the left side of the window regulator, where you have the plastic pieces pinching it, like I said, you're gonna turn this clockwise to loosen it. And all you have to do is loosen this one. Don't take this all the way out, because you don't want this assembly to fall apart on you. But the one on the right, you're gonna see when I get the window out and show you that this bolt is gonna go all the way through a piece of metal that is in the glass. So we're actually gonna have to remove this bolt completely to get our window out. And to make it come out a lot easier and probably the correct way than I did in the parts yard, is I'm gonna remove this little pin. No. All right, I don't want to break you, pin. All right, let me see if I can get this guy around it. I hate it when little detail things like this turn into the most stubborn part. Aha. All right, that's why it's nice to have a kit that has lots of different tools. All right, so now that he's out, this should be nice and crusty from years of keeping water out of our door. Gently working it free. And it's going to be attached to this inner trim piece. While I was there, I actually bought the outer trim piece off the door since it was there and I had to take it apart. So let me carefully lift this up. Don't just yank on it, because if you bend it, you're not going to get it back. Okay, now it should be easier just to pull this part out. Got that. I can do the same thing and just lift firmly. Slowly move down. Yeah, there we go. Got this piece off. Now when we release the glass, it's going to come out much, much easier. So now it's also easy with one hand just to grab this, and you can lift the glass up and down. And over here, some of these holes are designed to be little access holes. So once you lift it to the right height, you can see that bolt that we're going to need to remove. And it's the same on the other side. When you lift it up and down, you can see it right there. That's the guy that we're gonna loosen. So I'm gonna start with the side you just loosened. So raise or lower the window as necessary to get your tool on it. And I'm gonna turn it clockwise. All right, hopefully that is enough over there. I'm just gonna lift the window up until we have access through the little hole over here. And again, I'm gonna turn to the right. And since when I took it out at the junkyard, the parts just kind of fell off when I got it out, I'm gonna try to hold it from the back and hold the assembly together so I can figure out what it's supposed to look like, because that'll make reassembling it a lot easier. And if the bolt falls down there, it's not too bad to get out. So. And this definitely would be helpful if you had two people. Okay, bolt out. Finally. All right, so the bracket that is on the window, I'm just kind of twisting back and forth a little bit, because I'm sure it's lots of grime and stuff on there. All right, I'm just gonna try to lift the window up. So it feels like the right-hand side is free, but the left-hand side is not yet. All right, I'm gonna loosen over here a little more. So I detached that part over there, trying to hold it still so it doesn't come apart. And the glass comes right out. Alright, let's pulled this thing off of the broken one to see how it's assembled. Okay. I twisted this one and took it off of the track where this green thing was. I think there was probably a green one on the bottom. And the rail, this thing slides up and down on that rail right through here. And these pieces are assembled like this. And the nut, the bolt goes right through here. So that's one piece that I had right here. And this is a little metal oblong shape that pushes this wedge piece up and down when it gets turned. This little piece had fallen down in the door, so I think that it went in here, went through there to protect the bolt from sliding around. And actually on the window, you can see where that would fit into here to lock it into place, and the actual threads that that bolt is going through is in that piece in the window. Okay, so that's the hard part. Now we just remove the 5 bolts holding the regulator in there. They're 10 millimeters. So now the regulator is loose in here. And I think I'm going to start with this side. So let me show you this. The one that I removed before, actually this little pin sticking up is a clip that is held into the door, and it is holding the cable. So you just you can just squeeze the sides in and push that clip through the door. And here you can see what that looks like. It's just around the cable, or you could actually just push the cable out of the clip and leave the clip in place and pop the new one back in. So you can see down here, these are the studs that I was talking about. You just have to pull it back into the body of the car. And then same for the other side. When it's broken, it's a lot easier to get out. It's gonna be harder to get the new one in, I think. All right, if yours was broken like mine, dig around in your bottom of your door, and I found some more bits that we don't want rattling around in there. And yes, we have confirmed that you do not need to remove the airbag to do this. So after careful review of the crash scene footage from our old beat up one, it looks like this is the assembly process. This piece is hooked on, as you can see from the 2 things there. Our little wedge is here in the middle, and our little rotating piece is locked between them. And this threads into the window. So when we tighten it, it pulls the wedge up, I guess, and pushes this out, or lets it come back in. Either way, but I guess the window itself sits on these 2 little prongs on the bottom, and that's what holds it. And this cable, of course, tightens, and this little piece with the green plastic rides up and down this edge. So as the cable is released, the weight of the window presses this down, and of course, when it goes up, it tightens this cable and your window comes back up. So that is what I have learned today. And this is the cable from that spool that runs over here and spools around this gear right here. And that's what gets wound up and down. And then I guess there's just a second one that comes into this one to control the other side. So to reassemble, I'm gonna try to do it in the reverse order. I'm gonna start with the left side to get that one in there, and then get this side in. And you can see that this is the clip that came out from the other car. It's not, it's a slightly different type of clip. So I don't even know how it's attached, so I'll go ahead and remove this one. All right, I'm gonna start by putting the bottom of this in down here. Upside down. All right, so we got all these parts in. I'm gonna walk it up. Not bad. And I stick this guy in. Also put some blue painter's tape over the part down here just to keep all the pieces together while it's assembling so it doesn't fall apart on me. Over. Right. So come back over here and I need to realign this. Okay. So the secret for over here was to push it far against the outside wall where it's a little deeper, and then you can walk that leg over there. Now we got that bolt out here where it's supposed to be. And, top bolt lines up now. And this bolt. So that's good. Alright, got those bolts on the other side lined up really easily. Now don't forget this clip is here. I reinstalled that clip to use. Cable right back there. I'll just snap that back in place. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these bolts back up. Make sure you are extra careful when you remove that nut up there, because if that one falls off, you got to get a magnetic tool to dig it out, because it does not just drop through. All right, I pulled the blue tape off. As you can see, there is our little guy with the lip that's gonna go in there. And you can see that little black piece that protrudes out is gonna go into that hole in the window. So we're gonna have to put the window in that way, slide it in the back, and then have that piece pop in, it looks like. And on the left side, our little rubber clamp is all ready to get the window. So let me drop the window back in. All right. Should clean this probably, but glass is hitting that little assembly. Stick the front corner in first. It gives me a little more room. Pull the assembly back a little with my hand. All right, I'm just kind of forcing it down, and it pushed the window regulator down with it a little bit, which is fine. Just gave it enough room to come in. And I can feel that little black plastic thing catching. And the black plastic thing went in a little bit and it pushed past that. And now we're sitting on the glass, or the glass is sitting on that wedge. All right, the glass is in place. So let me push both sides down just a little bit. Bolt hole is lined up. Felt the bolt go all the way through. Now I am going to be turning this counterclockwise to tighten it. It's caught. Now Now you're probably wondering, how tight do you tighten it? That is a fantastic question. I have no idea. Let's see this one. This end still feels a little loose. Okay. Pull it back up a little. Try I can access this one. Starting to spin loose. I don't really like that. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall the new motor and see what happens. So the opposite of before, I'm gonna line it up so that it can push in. Press it in all the way. Rotate it again so the holes line up. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and hook the power back up. Oh, interesting. So now the power is up here on top on this new motor. Oh wow, and it is a different connector here. Guess I'm gonna clean up the old motor and give it a shot. So very interesting lesson. Both of these are off the E46 Convertible, just different years, and you can see that these connections are not only different, but mine is a 2-pin connection and this other one is a 6-pin connection. So, okay, original motor is back in the new window regulator. So let's see what happens. Switch. Yes, that's me doing it slowly. Looks like success. All right, let's put our trim back on. Okay, so post-assembly note. When I got this all back together and I tried to put this trim back on, I noticed that the window was a little bit too far that way because the trim was being stretched. And I looked over here and I could see some the dirt marks over here were not all the way lined up. So I lowered the window again to where I could reach both of these bolts at the same time. I loosened the one on the left. I whacked the window a few times this way and moved it enough to cover those up. And then I tightened that as tight as I could get it. And then when I went to retighten this one, it was no longer spinning loosely. It let me actually tighten it all the way up. So I don't know what's up with that. But I think the window is positioned better now. So when installing the window, keep an eye on your little dirt marks over there. Make sure that it is how you took it off. If you haven't seen, Rio Toro and I are going to give away this E46 Convertible once I'm done doing some work on it. All right guys, hopefully that is enough detailed information in case your BMW convertible window regulator goes out and you need to replace it. It really wasn't that bad of a job, and especially after watching this video, you should see all the details on how it comes apart, how it goes back together, what you need to watch out for. So please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are not already a subscriber. I really appreciate you guys. Even consider becoming a member if this channel has helped you multiple times. As always, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you on the next episode.